Hey there, internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with another episode of That Nerdy Site Plays. Sitting down today with some Microsoft Flight Simulator on my Xbox Series X. I dove in and played a little bit of this game last year on my PC, which, fortunately, I had a PC that was beefy enough to at least run it. But PC and keyboard and mouse and keyboard isn't my ideal experience. So I thought I would hop in and see how it runs now that it is on console. This is a series that is somewhat near and dear and fond family memories with my folks because my dad, my whole family is made up of pilots. My dad was a pilot. I can leave all this stuff for now, I think. Actually, let me go ahead and increase the text size. So my my dad was a pilot for many years, not in a professional sense, but we had planes, or my grandfather had a plane and they flew, and I learned how to fly when I was 10 years old and stuff. My dad worked as an airplane mechanic kind of in his later years. He only just retired a few weeks back. And so yeah, this, knowing my dad's love of flying and stuff, our go-to gift growing up would be whatever that year's version of Microsoft Flight Simulator would be. We would get, my sister and I would kind of go in together and get that for my dad, and kind of make that the his birthday was a week after Christmas, so it would be kind of either his Christmas gift or his birthday gift that year. So yeah, just kind of letting the game load in here, I guess. And this is definitely one of those if I felt this game, or if this game would run on the last gen stuff, I was kind of ready to give my dad one of my Xbox Ones, and just kind of let him play around with it. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of flight training stuff just to see really how it handles here on controller. So we'll kind of go through these one by one. And I love that the training here is in Sedona, Arizona, because that's 2 miles north of me drive-wise, and I'm fairly certain that when my grandfather and my mom would take me up when I was 10, 11 years old and do flight training and stuff, we would fly around, basically we would fly up to Sedona and grab lunch and stuff like that. So the fact that the training is over the Sedona region is very weird in that regard, or at least, and I don't even know if that's a unique to me because it's doing geolocation or something like that, and just recognizing, oh, he's in Arizona, let's have him train in Sedona, or if that is everybody trains in Sedona.
I'm Captain Jess Molina, and I'll be your instructor. For this lesson, we're going to start on the ground and focus on some basic concepts. Fundamentals every pilot needs to know before hitting the skies.
Sounds good.
This is your plane, a classic, the Cessna 152. Take a look around it. In the simulator,
grandfather had a Mooney.
You can easily switch to cursor mode. The cursor is handy for interacting with menus and cockpit controls or instruments. As you can see, activating the cursor also displays the toolbar. The toolbar is a quick access menu that allows you to control various aspects of the simulation. Try to find and open the basic controls panel.
Basic controls right there.
The basic controls panel is a useful reminder of the button layout for the devices you're currently using. Now try to find and open the camera panel in the toolbar. The camera panel allows you to access the various views and camera modes of the simulation. Go ahead and close all the panels for now. Right now, we are in the external view mode. Let's switch to cockpit view next.
Switch to cockpit view with that one. There we
In
go.
front of you is the yoke, the primary means of controlling the aircraft. In the simulation, you'll be controlling the aircraft with your peripherals of choice. So let's hide the yoke for now.
So I am hiding it. right? Did I hide it? Nope. That's...
Some instruments
go.
allow
Okay,
multiple
there we go.
interactions. For example, rotating a dial clockwise or counterclockwise. In these cases, you need to lock the cursor onto them in order to interact. For example, take a look at the clock in the middle of the dashboard. Go ahead and lock the cursor on it. Now change the clock time. You can unlock the cursor once you're ready.
All right. Setting it to 11 a.m. 11:25 a.m. per my clock right now. So let's... Sure. Suppose I can... like... There we go. Change the hours. And now back to minutes. And there we go. And
For now,
press
we're
B to...
done with the cursor, so go ahead and hide it. All right, as we've seen, when you want to look around you, it's easy to rotate the camera. But you can also move it freely in the cockpit to get a better view of anything you want to see. Even through a window to look outside. Pro tip, once you find a camera position you like, you can save a shortcut to easily get back to that view anytime.
I definitely do not remember any of this training in the
Now,
in the,
reset the camera to its original
PC
position.
version of the game.
Then try switching to your custom one again. All right, that covers all the main camera functions available in the simulation. Try to familiarize yourself with them a bit more. Then reset the camera to its original position whenever you're done. Great.
Yay. Good job, Trevor. You learned the camera controls. All right. Let us do the next one. Aircraft Essentials. Let's fly. This will be like, this YouTube video will be like, Trevor relearns how to fly. Yeah, I never got like a pilot's license or anything like that, but I definitely put in a good chunk of hours when I was a kid, flying in my grandpa's plane. Yeah, it's just a cool little thing that I got to experience growing up.
A Cessna 152, and a few commands to navigate it through the skies. In front of you is the yoke. The yoke is like a steering wheel, more or less. Turn it left or right to control the ailerons and bank the aircraft into turns. Look at the trailing edge of the wings while turning the yoke to see the effect on the ailerons. Okay. Now, the difference between the yoke and a steering wheel is you can pull or push on the yoke. This controls the elevator at the back of the aircraft to make it climb or descend.
It is very natural on the joystick.
Look at the horizontal stabilizer while you pull on the yoke. You can see how it affects the elevator. Nice. Down at your feet are the rudder pedals. They steer the aircraft when you're on the ground. The upper part of the pedals also control your brakes. In the air, they control the rudder at the end of the vertical stabilizer to yaw the aircraft. This is mostly for small corrections, for coordinating turns or compensating for a plane's tendency to pull left during takeoffs and climbs. Look at the vertical tail while operating the pedals to see the effect on the rudder. Great. Last but not least, the throttle is located near the center of the cockpit. Pushing forward will increase power. Pulling back will decrease power. First, look at the throttle and select it. Keep it selected and push it forward to increase power. Power is increased. Now, pull it back to decrease power. Power is decreased. Now we'll do the same without focusing on it. Deselect the throttle. Look away from the throttle and increase power. Set your throttle to idle. Excellent. When the engine is on, you'll be able to see the power change on your RPM indicator. You'll find it on the right side of the dashboard. This tells you how fast the engine is spinning in hundreds of revolutions per minute. Next, take a look at your current speed on the airspeed indicator. It's on the left in the main instrument panel. It measures the speed in knots. To check your altitude, look to the altimeter. It's on the right side of the main instrument panel. The altimeter has 3 hands, similar to a clock. The long, thick pointer indicates 100-foot intervals. The short, thick one is 1,000-foot intervals, and the long, thin one, 10,000-foot intervals. That's all for today. Next time, we'll see how it feels in the air.
Ooh. Cool. Back to the training menu. Familiarization flight. Let's fly over the red rocks of Sedona. Such like a chill game. Sounded like a chill soundtrack to go along with it and everything. It's gonna be interesting when they have like the Top Gun DLC that goes into the game and like, you know, that, because that seems like the opposite of chill.
I've got to say, you chose a great day to go flying. This session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good?
Sounds good.
First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today. This is Red Rock territory. Beautiful, isn't it? See if you can spot the Sedona airport. The runway should be a pretty easy landmark to find.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go. Visual confirmation on the airport.
Enjoy the view as the instructor flies to the next step. Next step, 1.0 something nautical miles. Probably find the like satellite office that my old job used to have or has out in Sedona. We'll fly by there. No, I actually couldn't. I'd have to like do some serious navigation because I've only driven there once, let alone trying to find it from the air.
Time to see how it all feels in the air. The aircraft is currently set to a cruise attitude, the position it should be in for regular flight. Alright, now let's try banking into a turn by moving the yoke. I'll go first. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees.
Is a good general rule of thumb.
Go ahead and try rolling to the right.
Working on it.
Excellent.
There we go.
As we're flying towards Sedona, let's try climbing up and down. Gently pull on the yoke to climb. Give it a try. That's good. For the descent, it's the same principle, except you're pushing on the yoke. Go ahead, gently pitch down. Next time, be a bit more gentle on the controls. Okay.
Alright,
time
just
to
because I
find
was
the
working
airport
ahead
again.
of you doesn't mean
Look
I wasn't
around,
gentle on
and
the
when you
controls.
found it, make a turn in that direction. Make sure any control movements are soft and gentle. Now that you're more familiar with the aircraft and the surroundings, the next step is to go deeper into handling and techniques. Soon enough, you'll be able to enjoy trips all on your own.
A B. Whatever. Gently push and pull. Alright, screw you. Just whatever. It's not about being perfect. Just about not crashing. But sure, I'll try and be more gentle, Flight Simulator. I wonder how much the like joystick things cost for a game like this. Xbox,
To
joystick.
help demonstrate pitch, I've drawn 3 lines on the windshield. Notice how the middle line matches the horizon while we're flying level. This is the cruise attitude. The lower dotted line is the climb attitude, and the upper one is the descent attitude. Let's dig deeper into what that means. Pull back gently on the yoke until the climb attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude. According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude. But we're losing airspeed, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Excellent. Now let's level back out. Our speed is increasing and our altitude is stable. That's good. Push gently on the yoke until the descent attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude. As expected, with a nose-down attitude, our altitude is decreasing, while our speed is picking up. Great. Okay, bring us back to level flight. Now your speed is decreasing and your altitude is stable.
Alright, it doesn't want to stay
That's
level
good.
for me.
Try to make only small adjustments to your pitch to avoid overcorrection.
Probably need to adjust the sensitivity, is what I'm seeing. Alright, whatever. Another B? Screw you. Turns. Roll. Let's see, looks like Thrustmaster controller going for maybe 100, 150. Xbox flight stick. Yeah, there's a $90 one.
For this lesson, we're going to use a line
Yeah,
drawn on the
Thrustmaster
windshield to indicate the
full
cruise
kit
attitude.
with the rudders too.
I've
It's
also
$200.
added another dotted line to help you bank properly for left turns. Gently move the yoke to the left until the dotted line matches up with the horizon. Then maintain that bank.
There we go.
That's good. Now let's see you level back out. That's good. Remember to maintain altitude while leveling off. For the next step, turning to the right, let's see how you do on your own without any markings.
Oh,
At the top of
thanks.
your attitude indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees. Start banking right until you're lined up with the second notch to the right on the attitude indicator. Then maintain that 20-degree bank while remaining at the same altitude until I ask you to stop.
Alright, I don't think I did that well at all, but whatever. We're working on it, we're working on it. It's the fact that the other one is still there is what's messing my head up.
Keep working on it, you'll get better. Keep working to maintain a constant altitude during the turn. Level us back out now.
Alright, also doesn't help that I'm looking at mountains. They're messing up my horizon
Great.
line.
Small corrections on the yoke will lead to more accurate turns.
Yep. That's that. I expected to be on that one. That's fine. Whatever. Power settings. Basics of power management. I don't know if this is the thing I had to do before. Last time I did this. Okay.
Let's talk about the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. In the Cessna 152, that relates directly to the RPM displayed on the tachometer. Pull back on the throttle to reduce RPM to 1800. You put your plane in a dangerous situation.
Oh, sorry.
Pull back on the
Reduce
throttle
the
to
throttle,
reduce
not
RPM
the
to 1800.
Not the yoke.
Look how your speed and altitude are also decreasing. Excellent. Okay, let's throttle back up to 2400 RPM. Your speed is increasing now. As long as you maintain the same attitude, your altitude will keep climbing as well. Nice. That was excellent. With piston planes like this Cessna, it's common to have power targets defined in RPM.
Okay. Straight and level.
In this lesson, let's take a look at the relationship between attitudes and power settings. Attitude plus power equals performance. We're currently at 5,500 feet in a cruise attitude. The aircraft's nose is positioned under the horizon, and cruise power is at 2,300 RPM. Try to reduce power to 2,000 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. Great. You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. Make sure any control movements are soft and gentle.
I'm not going to touch that at all.
You put your plane in a dangerous situation.
That was not.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Try it out. Trim the aircraft to maintain 5,500 feet. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. Try it out. Trim the aircraft to maintain 5,500 feet. Try it out. Trim the aircraft to maintain 5,500 feet.
Doing the R. I don't know what I'm...
You put your plane in a dangerous situation.
The instruction is not helping me.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
There we go. Okay. Oh, okay, come on. To add the trim. There we go. Okay. Nope. Fuck you. Supposed to be doing there. It's like it stays in there, and it gives me the green, and I don't do anything, and then it falls back down. You are not helping me at all. Supposed to be like doing slight movements on it or whatever. No. Go. Okay. Okay.
That's good.
There we go.
You're too high now.
Okay, full screen. Back down to 5,500.
Increase power to 2,300 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. Get us back to a cruise attitude.
Well above 2,300 RPM, so go.
Excellent. Now adjust the trim. That's good.
Okay.
You did well, but you can do better.
Yeah, no duh.
The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim,
What was
you
that,
make
like a
course
C?
changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. If you feel your pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. That's the key to straight and level flight.
Yeah, a B. Whatever.
The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you can see, we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. That's good. Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 152, you need full power to climb effectively.
Climb it back up. And so meanwhile, turn to south, so start doing that. I haven't commented on it a lot, but largely because I'm in the cockpit view for the most of this, but like does look real pretty out there. So shout out to like being able to run this on a Series X and it looking this good.
Nice. All right, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees. Stay at 6,000 feet and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots.
Too slow. Back up to 80, come on. Nope, no, go too fast. Come on, slow it back down. Okay.
That's okay. Review straight and level flight to better manage your speed and altitude. You did well, but you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do better.
Thanks, champ. Alright. Is that everything here? Yeah, that's everything. I'm not going to bother trying to, like, 100% these. Yeah, that's, I think we'll leave it there for this episode. Trevor relearning how to fly, having done the basic handling. I got a 78%. It's passing grade. all A's and B's. So I don't know how. I guess. Well, they weren't using like an A and B rating system, so some of their B's were like 6,000 out of 10,000, whatever. Well, that is gonna do it. I will probably come back for another episode where I learn how to take off and land, something I never actually did. I learned how to take off. Did not learn how to land when I was actually flying planes as a young lad. But we will do that in the next episode of Trevor Relearns to Fly here on That Nerdy Site. That Nerdy Site plays here on youtube.com/thatnerdysite. Thank you for joining me. As always, stay nerdy and be good to each other.